Where does true motivation come from? The Alchemist. Hi, welcome back to Rise&Shine Classic Book Collection, a channel dedicated to sharing knowledge for holistic self-development through great books. Today's video is a reflection on the classic novel The Alchemist, titled, Where Does True Motivation Come From? Let's dive in. In our 20s, many of us wonder, what is my dream? What do I truly want to do? Then, at 25, we ask ourselves, have I really put in the effort to achieve my dream? Is this the path my heart truly desires? And by 30, we bow our heads once again and wonder, if I haven't pursued my dream all these years, is it too late to start now? If you're feeling lost in life, uncertain of your direction, then spending just 2 hours reading The Alchemist, a book of over 200 pages, may help you find your answer. The Alchemist has been in publication for over 30 years, translated into 81 languages, and has sold millions of copies in over 170 countries. In Brazil, its fame is often compared to that of God and football. The reason this book holds such a profound influence is that, as we read it, we see a reflection of ourselves within its pages. The novel tells the story of Santiago, a young shepherd who sells his entire flock, his entire livelihood in pursuit of his dream. Despite countless obstacles, he embarks on a journey across the desert to find hidden treasure. This is both a fable and a simple, yet deeply moving story that has touched the hearts of hundreds of millions of readers. It is also a reflection of the spiritual journey of its author. At 17, Paulo Coelho was rebellious and was sent to a mental institution by his parents. As he grew older, he was even imprisoned for opposing the dictatorship in Brazil. By the age of 38, he still felt lost. He then embarked on a solo pilgrimage, walking nearly 600 kilometers along the Camino de Santiago in Spain. This 3-month journey gradually calmed his restless heart. It was after this experience that he poured his insights and reflections into the story of Santiago's quest for treasure. Since its publication, The Alchemist has ignited the hearts of countless individuals who feel lost and uncertain about their paths in life. Coelho also became the only Latin American author whose influence is often compared to Gabriel Garcia Marquez, the legendary writer of 100 Years of Solitude. The Alchemist teaches us that a life without purpose is nothing more than a chaotic maze. Anyone who steps into it will spend their entire life aimlessly searching for a way out. Without clear goals, we will always feel lost, unable to find a stable direction. And in those moments, we become easily consumed by worries and thoughts about things beyond our control, forgetting that only when we set a clear goal and dare to pursue it can we find true peace. If you worry too much about gains and losses, you will always miss your dreams. Santiago was born into an ordinary family in Spain. His parents relied on a small piece of farmland to make a living. From the moment he was born, they placed all their hopes in him, sending him to a seminary with the dream that he would one day become a priest, a source of pride for the entire family. Becoming a priest would guarantee him a stable life, one filled with respect and admiration from the community. But that was not what Santiago truly wanted. He constantly felt restless, dreaming about the world beyond the unexplored roads, the undiscovered journeys, and the untold stories waiting for him. One day, Santiago gathered all his courage and told his father that he did not want to become a priest. His real dream was to travel, to explore the vast world, to not just learn but to truly live, to seek the truths and answers that life had to offer. Although his father strongly opposed the idea, he ultimately could not persuade a son who had already made up his mind. In the end, he relented and gave Santiago 3 gold coins, saying, "Use this to buy some sheep and live the life you desire." These 3 gold coins were not just a compromise. They symbolized his father's silent support and understanding. Deep down, Santiago's father resonated with his son's dream because he too had once longed to travel the world. However, bound by responsibilities and worries, he never dared to chase that dream. He knew his son would face many challenges, but he also understood that nothing is more valuable than living true to one's dream. In this book, every character has a dream of their own. Santiago's father once longed to travel the world, just like the street popcorn vendor who had always dreamed of going to Africa since childhood. The owner of the crystal shop wished to make a pilgrimage to Mecca, believing that he would find spiritual peace there. Even the thieves near the pyramids shared a dream similar to Santiago's to search for hidden treasure. However, not everyone dares to pursue their dreams. For various reasons, many of these people had to set aside their aspirations. It could be the fear of failure, the anxiety of losing what they already have, or simply the overwhelming pressure from reality, family, and society. They chose to settle for a safe life, but one without passion or fulfillment. No matter what the reason is, it all comes down to weighing gains and losses. This constant calculation clouds their original desires and dreams. It becomes a trap that causes them to miss out on the precious opportunity to chase what truly matters. It makes them forget the simple truth that the only meaningful way to live is to embrace life with authenticity and purpose. Without courage and unwavering determination, we can never break free from the comfort of our current reality. We will remain in a confined world, never knowing the wonders that life has to offer. Santiago, however, shattered this invisible barrier of safety. He left his hometown alone, became a shepherd, and chose to live a life that aligned with his heart's desires. Over the course of 2 years, Santiago gained invaluable experiences in his journey as a shepherd. He learned many things from tending to his flock and admiring breathtaking landscapes to meeting and connecting with people from all walks of life. Santiago thought his life would remain peaceful and stable as it was, but once again, as if the universe was sending him a signal, he received a message through a dream. For 2 consecutive nights, he dreamt of a young boy leading him to Egypt and telling him that a treasure awaited him nearby. What could this dream possibly mean? This strange vision left Santiago deep in thought, wondering if it was a sign of his destiny. One day, he met an old man known as the King of Salem, who interpreted the dream and told him that it was indeed his fate. The treasure he saw in his dream was real and within his reach. However, this revelation placed Santiago at a difficult crossroads. Should he abandon the peaceful life he had built over the past 2 years to chase after a treasure he had only seen in a dream? His current life was secure and tangible, while the journey ahead was filled with uncertainty and risk. Santiago hesitated, fearing that pursuing this dream might cost him everything he had worked for. This dilemma reflects a common struggle many of us face in life: the constant weighing of gains and losses. Sometimes the fear of what we might lose prevents us from seizing great opportunities. Like many others, Santiago was momentarily trapped in this mindset, torn between chasing his dream and clinging to the safety of his present life. But then, the King of Salem told him, "Destiny is simply what we truly want to accomplish in life." These words ignited a fire within Santiago. Hadn't it always been his dream to see the vast world beyond? His heart had already made the decision. Once again, he chose to follow his dream, setting out on a journey that would change his life forever. You need to know that the greatest deception in life is when you give up, bow to reality, and say, "Well, it's too late. This is my fate. I must accept it." But in truth, it is not. Fate is not something that makes you regret. Fate should be what you truly want to do. People often wonder whether they will regret the things they haven't done or the things they have done. According to a study, for most of the things we have done, if we fail, we may regret not doing better for a short time. But over time, we gradually rationalize it and no longer feel regret. However, for the things we truly desire but have not yet achieved, we will dwell on them every day, regret them for a lifetime, and never be able to forget them. That is because we cannot rationalize them, nor can we convince ourselves otherwise. A writer once said, Because we do not take the first step, our dreams remain forever distant. Dreams cannot endure waiting, and they fear discouragement. Just like red-hot steel in the fire, it can only be shaped as desired when forged at the right time and at the right temperature. Once it cools down, it becomes difficult to reshape. Therefore, when your long-held dream is reignited, take action immediately. Take the first step toward pursuing your dream while your passion still burns. Even if, in the end, we may not reach it, through daily effort, we will always see a better version of ourselves. What knocks you down must make you more determined on the path to pursuing your dreams. Nothing in life always goes smoothly. In his early days in Africa, Santiago faced two major setbacks. First, he encountered a language barrier. The second was meeting a Spanish-speaking man who, at first, seemed like a genuine friend, but ended up deceiving him and taking all his money. Just yesterday, his future still looked bright, but now he had nothing left. Santiago almost collapsed in despair. He remembered that not long ago he still had 60 sheep, but now he had nothing. Alone and lost in a foreign land, he suddenly recalled the words of the King of Salem. When you truly desire something, all the universe conspires to help you achieve it. These words filled him with newfound confidence and courage. The next day, he gathered his belongings and prepared to wander the streets in search of new opportunities. Life sometimes hits us with a harsh blow, yet at other times, it brings us hope and faith. As long as you have sharp eyes, a keen ability to identify problems that need solving, and a willingness to help others, you will find your way. Santiago discovered a crystal shop on the street, but business there was quite slow. Observing carefully, he suggested to the shop owner that clean crystals would attract more customers. He offered to polish all the crystals in the store in exchange for a meal. Even before the owner agreed, Santiago took the initiative and started cleaning the crystal bottles. Unexpectedly, as soon as he began, 2 customers walked in to buy something, and so he was hired. However, his dream of reaching Egypt required him to cross thousands of kilometers of desert. Working for just a few days here wouldn't be enough to afford the journey. While chasing our dreams, there will be times when we feel utterly hopeless, when we work tirelessly for a long time, only to realize that our dreams are still far beyond reach. Santiago, too, felt heartbroken about this, but he had no choice but to stay at the crystal shop. He temporarily set aside thoughts of his dream and focused on earning money. Sometimes, he even came up with brilliant ideas to boost the shop's business. A year later, Santiago had earned twice the amount of money he originally had. Moreover, he had not only learned about business, but also mastered Arabic. For someone whose heart is illuminated by their true calling, challenges and hardships are no longer seen as injustices or suffering. Instead, they are viewed as trials that shape us and stepping stones that help us grow. Letting go to reach the shores of dreams. At this moment, Santiago once again had a choice. He could either continue his wealthy life as a businessman or set off to pursue his dream. The crystal shop owner tried his best to persuade him to stay, but Santiago kept hearing the words of the King of Salem echoing in his mind. You must always remember what you truly want. And so, he abandoned the wealth he had built and chose to continue chasing his dream. He never forgot that his journey's purpose was to reach Egypt in search of treasure. He pressed on, crossing thousands of kilometers of desert until he arrived at a small oasis. There he met a beautiful girl named Fatima. The moment he gazed into her eyes, his heart was flooded with waves of love at first sight. Over time, Santiago fell deeply in love with her. He even considered giving up his dream to stay in the oasis and spend his life with her. However, the dreams of the alchemist awakened Santiago, the man in love, the man who was on the verge of losing himself. He realized that abandoning his dream would leave him with a lifelong regret, and in doing so, He would also burden the woman he loved with a life of quiet sorrow. After looking deep into his own heart, Santiago made the resolute decision to continue his journey to Egypt. The writer Jia Pinghua once said, "Those who truly live are those who know how to let go. Only by being willing to let go can one truly gain. If you refuse to let go, you will never have anything." Those who achieve greatness are the ones who sacrifice comfort and momentary pleasure in pursuit of their true dreams. True motivation always comes from the fire burning within. From that point forward, Santiago faced countless challenges in his search for the treasure in Egypt. While crossing the desert, he was captured by soldiers at a military camp, and all his money was taken away. He was then forced into an impossible situation. He had to turn himself into the wind within 3 days, or he would be killed. Despite this seemingly impossible challenge, Santiago remained calm. He used all his love, all his heart to communicate with the sun and the wind. He felt the soul of the world and connected with everything around him, striving to understand the language of the universe. Encouraged and inspired by the alchemist, he defied the impossible, and in the end, he became the wind. But when he finally reached the pyramids, not only did Santiago fail to find the treasure, but he was also robbed of all his gold and beaten badly by a group of thieves. However, through the words of one of the robbers, he discovered that the exact location of the treasure was, in fact, back in his own homeland. When you truly have a dream that you deeply desire to achieve, a dream that resides in your heart, no matter how difficult the journey, no matter how harsh life may be, nothing can truly stand in your way. As Nietzsche once said, "He who has a reason to live can bear almost anyhow." The author also expresses that it is the ability to pursue a dream that makes life exciting. Each of us possesses limitless potential, and the journey of chasing our dreams is filled with joy. The dream itself may not always come true, but in the pursuit of it, you will find happiness, experience true fulfillment, and undoubtedly become a better version of yourself. Just like Santiago in this story, he crossed the seas, journeyed through the desert, traveled to distant lands, and after going full circle, he finally returned to his starting point to find the treasure. It may seem like a waste of time, but in reality, everything he saw and heard along the way, the people he met, and the experiences he had all enriched the meaning of his life. Even if he had never found the treasure, the life he lived was already incredibly fulfilling. All the highs and lows were part of his journey of growth and self-discovery. Life is not about the days we have lived, but the days that are worth remembering. Dear friends, please remember this. When you have a dream, you must chase it. Never abandon the dream in your heart, no matter how harsh reality may seem. Keep it in the warmest place in your soul. No one can stop you from living the life you desire except yourself. You must believe that all motivation comes from the fire within you. Believe that there is no tomorrow you cannot reach. For the rest of our lives, may we all have the courage to face the true desires of our hearts, bravely pursue our dreams, take full responsibility for our own lives, and make them shine. Thank you for listening. If you found this video helpful, please share it with those who need it. Don't forget to give it a like, hit the subscribe button, and turn on the notification bell to catch my latest videos every week. Once again, thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.